Hello everyone, my name is Michaela, aka Kayla, and welcome to Kayla Discusses, where I do deep dives and commentary on all sorts of issues. This is the first episode of my series, Meet the Music Industry. The Meet the Music Industry series is all about exploring musicians and the industry itself. Today's episode will be about the upcoming pop star, Tyla. This episode will be split into 4 parts. The first part will be about exploring Tyla's identity. Disclaimer: not all Black Americans or Americans are ignorant and uneducated. However, there are some who are, so this is not an attack on all Americans or Black Americans. I believe it's not fair to generalize any group of people. This is for educational purposes only. It is not meant to be hateful towards anyone. Tyla Laura Seethal is a South African singer, songwriter, and dancer born and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa. She recently received a Grammy for Best African Performance for her smash hit Water.
Oh my, what the heck? What? Oh my gosh, guys, this is crazy. Like, I never thought I'd say I won a Grammy at 22 years old.
She also received 2 BET Awards for Best New Artist and Best International Act.
Guys, I did not prepare anything, but I just want to say thank you so much to my Tigers, my family, my team. Thank you to BT for always pushing the culture. But yeah, this is just such a gift to be here. I just want to dedicate this one to Africa.
She also won Best International Act at the Cultural and Creative Industry Awards in South Africa. She also received an SA Style Award.
So, I'm so happy to be here with everybody celebrating all creatives. It's so important, guys. I'm so proud of our creatives, and Amapiano music, guys. Amapiano has done so much for South Africa, and I'm so happy to be one of the artists who represent us while we're overseas, you know. And I just want you guys to know that when I'm overseas, people love South Africa. They love our accents. They love our dancing, our music. Everything that is South Africa is loved.
Hello, my name is Sydney, and today I accepted a beautiful award from my sister Tyla. She just won an SA Style Award. That's crazy, guys. What the heck? Honestly. But yeah, I'm so proud of her, and there's so many more greater achievements, great awards, and I love you, Ty.
As well as winning the Billboard Global Force Award and her very own Moon Man for Best Afrobeat Song.
But yeah, just thank you so much. I remember when everyone used to feel like this was so unattainable, especially from where I'm from, you know. And the fact that I'm able to be here today and just live out a dream that never felt real.
And I just want to shout out all the Afrobeats artists in this category with me. Shout out Thames, Ira Star, shout out Loj, shout out Rema, Whiskey, Burna Boy, all of us. And yeah, I love you guys. Africa to the world. Stream my album, Tyla.
Her music is a mixture of Amapiano, Afrobeats, R&B, and pop, sometimes referred to as Popiano. She started a bunch of dance trends like the Bacardi water dance, the jump dance trend,
They ain't never heard a pretty girl from Joburg singing now, and that's what they prefer. I don't touch no wheel cause I got a chauffeur.
the truth or dare dance trend, as well as the pop like this trend. She also released her debut album Tyla, which currently has over 1 billion streams on Spotify. You may have also seen her at the Met Gala this year in her stunning sand dress. Unfortunately, during this successful debut, she found herself in the controversy surrounding her race, which leads us to our next chapter. The controversy initially began in 2022 when a TikTok Tyla made resurfaced onto Twitter. This TikTok was made in 2020 prior to water blowing up in 2022. Then Twitter did what Twitter does, get offended over nothing. Then in September 2022, a TikToker by the name Simone Umba responded to a comment that told her that Tyla was colored and not black. In this TikTok, she made an ignorant response to the comment.
Y'all really would save yourself so much time if you checked yourself before you post in the comment. I was gonna say something else, but I say, you know what? This is a miseducation. This is a country like barrier difference. Baby, colored is what they call the black people before we got rights in this country. Tyla is multiracial. That is what she is in an American term. You saying she's colored, not black, baby, that's why everybody's eating you up right now. Please research before you comment, guys. I'm about to do like a whole face routine. That's why I got my towel wrapped around me. But oh my God, please do your research.
This then prompted many South Africans to respond to her, once again raising up this discussion.
Tyla is South African. South Africans use the term colored as a way of identifying a certain group or ethnic group in South Africa. It is a mixture of European or Asian and black descent. It was a term that was coined by the South African government between the 1950s and 1991. Now, colors don't define themselves as black or white. They do acknowledge that this is where they come from, but they see themselves as a race on their own. Hence, you'll have a colored mom, a colored dad, and a colored child. This is how it works in South Africa. Now, Americans feel some type of way when she uses the word colored. Understand that we know that the term colored is an offensive or was used as a derogatory term in America, but we are not American, and the term does not offend us. It is something that, or a classification that was given to us by our government, and we have used it and embraced it ever since 1940. So, understand this and educate yourselves, and also South Africans, well, rather educate South Africans about your history, and let it be. Now, just to give an example, Americans use the word, or rather the N-word, and they even use it as a term of endearment. They still use the word blacks as to identify themselves, and also black Americans. Now, those should be derogatory and offensive, but they're not. It is how Americans describe themselves. Understand from that perspective, that is how South Africans describe ourselves. We are very proud of being colored, black, and other. And I think it's just a matter of education.
Okay, so this TikTok is a prime example of why we will always need journalism in society. Because, Miss Ma'am, you have 300,000 followers. How do you talk on a culture you are not a part of? Yes, you are part of Africanism, but you are not part of the subculture that comes with being South African. And you are not colored. I am colored. I can speak to color. I know I'm light-skinned. Okay, that's another thing, okay? But you can't talk on a culture, especially not in our Heritage Month. That's disrespectful. I'm so sick of Americans believing that their standard of correctness is the only one that exists. You are not actually the leaders of the free world. And if you are, honestly, I don't think for much longer. But yo, brah, no. Don't be
You would have saved yourself if you actually took your own advice. You really, really should take your own advice. Because there's a reason that people commented, she is not classified black in South Africa. Emphasis on South Africa. And not one person commented or two people commented, multiple people commented. But you didn't take it upon yourself to go and research and find out why is it that these people keep on saying the following. Mind you, that colored people are not only in South Africa, they're in Zambia, Namibia, etc. But you didn't even take the time to understand. You were dismissive of a whole group of people and their history. And what I find very interesting about a lot of Americans, do you guys ever factor in or even consider that there are other people outside of America with a history that have to be respected just like yours?
Fact is that you said you came to South Africa, you've been to Johannesburg. So in my head, I'm like, okay, cool, you've been to Johannesburg, so you must come across the culture, the ethnic group, and you must know that we regard ourselves as colored. But you decided that it doesn't exist for you. So watch the South Africans troll you absolutely as they should, as we should. Me as a colored person, absolutely I will troll you. Because culturally, we are colored, 100%. Politically, we are black. Tyla herself is very proud to call herself colored. However, because she's in the USA, she understands that she adapts to being black. And obviously, because being colored in the USA is a controversial term. But you, as someone who visited South Africa, Johannesburg, you are like, oh no, I don't know of colored. Yeah, okay. Don't let me get you. Don't let me start. Don't let me get the colored out.
The thing that will make South Africans unite better than anything else is the ignorance of Americans. Every 2 months we have to educate Americans on social media. Now this creator said a few different things. In this video she's talking about the history of the word color in America. But that does not apply to Tyla, because Tyla is South African. South Africa is an entirely different country. And then in another video she talks about how Tyla is going to be marketed as a black artist and not a colored artist. You see, the problem with that is, it's basically saying she has to disregard her entire identity in order to be successful. And another thing about South Africans, we are very proud of our unique history. So when we see Tyla up there with artists like Chris Brown and others, and we hear her accent, we very proudly can say, wow, that is a South African colored girl up there doing these amazing things. And we don't want something so unique to South Africa to just be disregarded. Americans really need to get the message now. We cannot be doing this every 2 months. The world does not revolve around America. Not everyone shares your history.
Very embarrassing video. My sister, you have embarrassed yourself to the superfluous degree. I know common sense is not a flower that grows in everybody's garden, but let me make an example. If I am from South Africa, I am a black South African, and I come on the internet and I talk about the New York accent, never having been to New York, no discourse on the issue, no context on the issue, but I come and I give an opinion trying to find a parallel between my region and New York. Then a New Yorker comes and tells me I'm incorrect and then corrects me. Why would I still argue with them? Why would I dispute what they're saying when they are from the region? South Africans are literally telling you how this man-made construct, this region-specific thing is different, but you are disputing them. Why? Where's the sense?
It's the fact that you were coming out with this with your whole chest, or the fact that this young lady has actually made a TikTok that says, I'm a coloured, or the fact that you're accusing other people of not doing their research, yet you've taken none of your own advice. The fact that this young lady is a coloured and identifies as a coloured, and then you are undermining her and calling her biracial, which is a different ethnic group in Southern Africa, because I'm biracial, but I'm also coloured. Where I have a parent that's not a coloured, I have a white parent, so that makes me biracial, but my father is a coloured, and coloured is a term that's been used since the 1930s in Southern Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia.
Some South Africans approached this conversation with care and took it as an opportunity to educate others about the coloured identity. However, there were also South Africans who took this as an opportunity to bully Simone and did not add anything productive to the conversation. However, I believe that the outrage was not just about Simone. This is not the first time that the coloured identity has been invalidated online. It has been happening for years. The outrage stems from the pent-up frustration that South Africans have about certain people from Western countries who constantly disrespect and invalidate our cultures and experiences. Simone triggered this frustration and was the recipient of that anger. Tyla then had an interview with Hollywood Zay back in March 2024 where she said this.
Like, in South Africa, my race is called colored. And it's a very stressful term to use in America because I know it's a derogatory term.
Right.
But I mean, that's what we are called in South Africa. Right.
In April 2024, Tyla had a Cosmopolitan interview where she again addressed her race. She said, "I'm happy there's conversation happening and that people are learning that Africa is more than just black and white. Obviously, it gets messy, and no one likes that, but I'm just happy people know we exist and have our own culture. When people are like, you're denying your blackness, it's not that at all. I never said I am not black. It's just that I grew up as a South African knowing myself as coloured, and now that I'm exposed to more things, it has made me other things too. I'm also mixed race. I'm also black. I know people like finding a definition for things, but it's and not all. As young people, we have a platform where we can speak about things like this. Things that are new and controversial and scary. It's a perfect time for this conversation to happen." In June 2024, Tyla was on The Breakfast Club and her team asked them that some questions should not be asked. One of those questions was about her race. However, Charlemagne went and asked them anyway, hence Tyla and her team's reaction.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not, por favor?
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too.
I like. The Breakfast Club has previously handled conversations like this very poorly. For example, Amara La Negra's Afro-Latina colorism controversy.
Huh? Like race-wise.
Oh, okay.
What am I?
Yeah, what are you? No, I'm Dominican, born and raised in Miami. My parents are Dominican, and I am obviously an Afro-Latina. So yes.
What is Afro-Latina? I thought that was half black, half something else. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was half black, half Latino.
Well, the thing is that how we see black here in the United States is different. You think black, you think African American.
Right.
See, for us in Dominican Republic, because we're all Dominican, you only have but to say you're black.
I thought Dominicans didn't really mess with black and Puerto Rican. I thought they didn't want to be black and they want to be Puerto Rican. And then
because if you're Puerto Rican, that's what you are. And if you're Dominican, that's what you are. So you want to rep what you are or where you come from. So that's pretty much
all. We had you're a Latino with an afro.
Yeah, I can say I'm Latino. I'm Latina.
With an afro.
Even if I had an afro, I didn't have an afro. I mean, I'm still Afro-Latina because I come from African descent, so that's what it is.
And we had Dasha Polanco up here from Ours is the New Black, and she said she's Afro-Latina too. And we had this whole discussion before with her about what that is.
I thought she had black and a little black. That's why she did
That's what I thought too.
No, actually, it's really sad, the fact that I even have to answer these questions, the fact that I have to feel as if I have to prove myself, because every single part of me is being questioned, just because I feel that there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to the Afro-Latino. People don't understand. Even when I read comments, like, I never knew that there were black people that spoke Spanish. I'm like, where have you been living? Under a rock?
So do we all know what an Afro-Latino is, or are you still confused? I've had it explained to me several times, so right. I'm familiar.
You kinda, yeah. I feel that we come in so many shades. Like, my mom is a little bit darker than you, but my father, it's very, very, very dark skin, way darker than me. So we come in so many different shades that it's like, why is it so hard for people to understand or accept me? Because I just feel like there's standard of beauty in the entertainment industry that you have to look a certain type of way in order to be pretty. Your hair needs to be straight and silky in order to be pretty. Or if you're Latina, you have to look like J-Lo, Sofia Vergara, Shakira. But when you look like me, oh, you don't look Latina enough. What does that even mean? There isn't a Latin country that doesn't have people that look like myself. So why aren't we on magazine? Why aren't we on movies? Why are we? So it bothers me.
I thought you were black until I heard you speak.
Right.
You don't look like I'm reading the tweet. It's like, this a Maryland Negro hoe looks like she has on blackface and trying too hard. A Maryland Negro looks like a white woman in blackface. Like, you don't look like a white woman to me.
Well, because apparently my features don't match my color, whatever that means.
What's that mean? Well, you know what? What color eyes do you have?
Gray.
Gray eyes. Most of the time you don't see gray eyes with darker skinned people. Is that true?
But that is not true. That is not true. It depends where you're coming from. When you go to my country, there's so many different people that look like myself, different shades, different features, that to me is not surprising. But out here, it's supposed to be like, oh my God, what species are you? You know, like type of thing. Really hard. No, we don't have Black Lives Matter movement. We don't have Martin Luther Kings. We don't have Malcolm X. We don't have The Voice. You see,
but when we say
we don't have that.
But when we say black and brown, the brown, like that's covering the Latinos.
Yeah.
Many people after the interview called out Envy and Charlemagne for their ignorant attitude towards Amara. Charlemagne is known for being rude to some of his guests. For example, MGK, Little Mama, Monique, etc. If you want to know more about it, you can watch this video by Luista. After the interview, Tyla made this statement on Twitter. Yo guys, never denied my blackness. I don't know where that came from. I'm mixed with black and Zulu, Irish, Mauritian/Indian, and colored. In South Africa, I would be classified as a colored woman, and in other places I would be classified as a black woman. Race is classified differently in different parts of the world. I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone not comfortable doing so, because I understand the weight of that word outside of South Africa. But to close this conversation, I'm both colored in South Africa and a black woman. As a woman for the culture, it's and not all. With that being said, Asambe. It's also clear that Charlemagne was not genuine and was trying to look for drama.
First of all, Charlemagne, you can get out of here with that little condescending comment you made about making the interview awkward because they don't answer questions. You knew exactly what you were doing by asking that question. And my girl, shut it down, because we know exactly the trauma attached to the word for Americans and the American audience. And it's not going to get explained in a little interview about her career, mind you, not her culture. And second of all, she's already covered this in her Cosmo interview. And I'm pretty sure if you Google the word, or if you even just type the word colored into TikTok, you will see many videos come up where Americans are butthurt because we call ourselves colored. And no matter how much we try to explain how nuanced it is, it will still get to the same controversial place, which is why she shut that conversation down.
After Tyla issued the statement, they made another video titled, Tyla clears the air after dodging colorism question on The Breakfast Club. Colorism and colored are not the same thing, and it's clear that they don't even understand what they're talking about, or they are purposely making misleading titles to stir up controversy. Tyla never said anything offensive and has explained herself on 3 different occasions, but continues to receive backlash. South Africans have also explained this on many social media platforms during these controversies. The bad press was caused by Twitter and TikTok outrage and tabloids and YouTube videos with misleading titles such as Tyla says she's not black, Tyla is denying her blackness, etc. When Tyla does talk about her race, people are mad. When she doesn't talk about her race, people are mad. It is a losing situation both ways.
Yeah. Colors, 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 colors. I send this one out to my brothers and all of the sisters who love us, and all of those stuck in the gutters. This one go out to the colors, 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 colors. I send this one out to my brothers and all of the sisters who love us, and all of those stuck in the gutters. This one go out to the colors.
Coloured refers to a racial and ethnic group in southern Africa that consists of multiracial people who have been mixed over multiple generations. Their mixtures include African, European, and Asian. The coloured identity is recognized in South Africa, Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and other southern African countries. South Africa has the highest population of coloured people, just above 5 million as of 2022. For context, I will explain the other racial groups and ethnic groups in South Africa. Firstly is the Khoisan, who are the indigenous people of southern Africa. It is a collective term used to refer to two separate groups, the San and the Khoikhoi. The San were hunter-gatherers, whereas the Khoikhoi were herders. Secondly, there is the Bantu people. They originate from West Central Africa and migrated down to southern Africa. Each Bantu tribe has its own traditions, languages, and culture. There is Xhosa, Zulu, Basotho, Venda, Ndebele, Tswana, Tsonga, Swazi, and Pedi. Thirdly, we have Indian South Africans. During the 1800s, Britain colonized South Africa. The Indians were laborers transported from British India to work on the sugar plantations in KwaZulu-Natal. This is from 1860 onwards. Lastly, the white people of South Africa, who are predominantly descendants of Dutch, German, French Huguenot, English, Portuguese, and other European settlers. In 1652, the Dutch arrived in what is known today as Cape Town and later on produced the Cape Colony. They also brought with them slaves from Malaysia and Indonesia. Over time, the Khoisan, the Bantu people, Indian people, European settlers, and other South Asian slaves began mixing. Some of it was consensual, and some of it was not. Colored people were already a group even before apartheid was introduced. They just had other names and was not recognized in the government, but culturally, they were considered a separate group. While the Dutch were still in power, they referred to the mixed race offspring as Kleurlinge. Kleurling, translated from Dutch or Afrikaans to English, is colored. Colored communities started forming around the 1800s when slavery in South Africa was abolished. Since they all looked alike from mixing during slavery, they formed their own communities. The mixed race offspring in some cases was rejected by other racial groups and tribes due to the fact that they were bastards. There were certain racial communities that did not allow mixing and other communities that did. Apartheid was a racial segregation that perpetuated that non-white people had to live in separate areas and use separate facilities from one another. There was white, native/black, and then colored. Indian, colored, and Khoisan people were classified under colored as they did not fit into the requirements to be classified as black or white. When apartheid ended in 1994, Indian people were given their own racial category, whereas the Khoisan and colored people remained within the same racial category. Although all people of color were oppressed during apartheid, there is a difference between the way that colored people and black people were treated during this time. Colored people did not have to carry a passbook and had slightly better education than black people. However, they still had less privilege than white people. There is racism present in some colored people towards black people. However, I find that it mostly occurs within the older generations that grew up during apartheid or were born just after it ended. Therefore, a colored person calling themselves black can be seen as offensive to black South Africans, as they did not and still do not share the same experiences then and now. If a colored person takes any other race besides their own on a government form, they will be charged with fraud. Colored genetics can differ from person to person and place to place. We have different subgroups in South Africa. Some are official, some are not. However, I cannot speak on any other country. Note, not every color within that province has that specific genetic ancestry, but it is the most common. Cape colored, present in the Western Cape, mixed with European settlers, Khoisan, Xhosa, and slaves from South Asia. Cape Malay, present in the Western Cape, predominantly descendants of Muslim, Malaysian, and Indonesian slaves mixed with Arabs, Europeans, Indians, and Africans. Northern Cape Coloureds, mixed with European and Khoisan similar to Namibian Coloureds. They have their own subgroups as well, such as Griqua, Bosleis and Rehobothbasters, Oorlam, etc. KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng Coloureds, mixed with British, Irish, German, Mauritian, Saint Helenian, Indian, Xhosa, and Zulu. Eastern Cape Coloureds, mixed with British, Xhosa, and Irish. Free State Coloureds, mixed with Basotho, San, and Dutch. I unfortunately don't know much about the colour genetics of the other three provinces in South Africa, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and Northwest. There are certain coloured subgroups that are closer to certain racial groups with regards to culture. For example, Northern Cape Coloureds are closer to white people, KwaZulu-Natal Coloureds tend to be more closer to Indians, and Free State Coloureds tend to be more closer to black people. Northern Cape has a mostly coloured and white population. KwaZulu-Natal has quite a large Indian population, and the Free State has more of a black/Basotho population. The place you grow up in as a coloured also influences the language you grow up with. A lot of coloureds in the Free State speak Sesotho, Afrikaans, and English. In KZN, they speak Zulu and English, and so on. Coloured people are very diverse. They can look like any race. We come in all skin colours, hair textures, eye and hair colours, and phenotypes. For example, there is Sydney Seethel, who is a model, as well as Tyla's younger sister. There is me, Navon Ferris, who is an influencer, Just Jarvis, who is a YouTuber, Youngster CPT and Early B, who are rappers, Ronwen Williams, a soccer player, Samantha Janssen, an influencer on TikTok, Vince POV, a YouTuber, as well as my friends Hailey and her sister Amy. The purpose of showing all of these colored people is to highlight the diversity in physical appearance amongst our community. We are not classified by our skin color, but rather a shared history, culture, and genetics. Coloreds have their own culture, which includes slang, food, names, and traditions. Colored culture is a mixture of other cultures. For instance, they have a lot of Asian influence in their cuisines. Some also speak Afrikaans like white South Africans. However, white Afrikaans and colored Afrikaans is not the same. Colored people have their own dialect of Afrikaans. They even have their own accents. Some colored cuisines include koeksisters, bobotie, biryani, pickled fish, etc. This explanation only scratches at the surface of the colored identity. It's the most basic explanation I can give about colored history. Colored people in Southern Africa are the equivalent to Creole people of Louisiana and are similar to Latina and Hispanic people. The first reason for the outrage is the word colored in the United States was a derogatory word used in the Jim Crow era during segregation. The second reason is the one-drop rule, which means if you have black ancestry, you are considered to be black. This obviously caused confusion among certain black Americans when hearing Tyla calling herself colored. But I don't believe these are the only reasons.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall.
There is a certain group of black and white women that hate and are jealous of mixed women. It is a factor as to why Tyla is receiving this much hate. With regards to the group of black women, I believe this stems from a place of self-hatred, because society has told black women that they are undesirable and ugly. That narrative is so annoying, and I don't believe that anyone should believe those lies. Black people's hair, phenotypes, and skin is beautiful. You are beautiful. You do not need a mixed person to represent you in order to be seen as beautiful. You do not need a mixed person to identify as black in order to be desirable. You do not need a mixed person to be black in order for you to be proud of your blackness. Tyla never said she wasn't black, nor did she deny the fact that she was mixed with black. The only thing Tyla said is that she was colored. Whenever someone claims their mixed heritage, for some reason some people interpret it as anti-blackness, when that's not the case at all. With regards to the group of white women, it stems from racism. These specific women are used to being the beauty standard. Therefore, when they come across a mixed woman who possibly shares some of their features and is mixed with the races that they feel superior to, they feel threatened by them. Both the inferiority complex of some black women and superiority complex of some white women stem from colorism, which is a result of colonization and slavery. It's not all white women or black women, just a specific demographic within these races that react this way to a mixed woman. I hope this gave you a better understanding of Tyla's racial identity. As a colored person myself, I'm very passionate about this topic. Colored people are not always portrayed in a positive light, and Tyla is such a positive example of our race. In the same way other races want representation, we as colored people want the same. For the first time in my life, I feel represented as a colored, not just on a national level, but on an international one. In part 2 of this episode, we will explore Tyla and the diaspora. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll chat again in part 2.